right, it's log time. I'm up here at Morgan's shop picking up the bug. So I thought I'd go over what we did, what he did to it, and give you guys a once over. So here's what's happening. Alright, so give me a little rundown of what we did.
I want to make sure that this impact thing is done here.
Oh, I'm done for me.
Okay. Yeah, so the bug came for a 2-week laundry list of stuff. I'm Morgan Clark.
Yeah.
Eric hit me up to kind of get this thing done in a time crunch situation. So key items that were like specialty items started out with the door panels, the roof ducting for Arrow. Is there a free step to stand on? I see one. Let me see. Grab this guy up. So yeah, one of the things Eric was having an issue with was cooling and running a windshield and getting proper airflow to the radiator and the intercooler. Right. So he wanted to keep it streamlined and you know, not have the profile of the bug be interrupted by a shape like a roof scoop.
Yep.
So we kind of came up with this thing. All aluminum.
All removable, right?
Yep, all bolt in, 2 pieces individually. And then I also made cutouts here that just kind of favor having positive airflow into that area, because it's just kind of a box in there and you get heat saturation and
heat soak and all that, get it all out.
Yeah, so I think that that's going to be a monumental step in the right direction as far as the cooling goes.
Let's do door panels. We did some door panels, right?
So we ditched these guys. This is the factory thing of theirs here. So, I mean, this part's cool though. I like this part.
That's your little.
I thought about doing that 3D somehow, like where I can incorporate it, but
throw the registration in there.
Yeah, so kind of took these lines. If you think about the car in general, and you think about, you know, the shapes it has, this scoop, you know, everything kind of has this drawn out look. Yeah. You know, everything has tension. So the door panels kind of do the same thing. They have that tension in them, and they kind of have like a, you know, an inverse here. Yep. You know, and these are all aluminum too. And then I grained them so they kind of look like a stamped piece that you'd put on here.
Right. How many pieces is there? A lot of pieces between.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this is all a weld here. This is a weld. This is a weld. This is weld. This is weld.
It's all boxed.
Oh, and that's 5. 6.
6.
Yeah, it's all capped. Yeah. Just to keep the silhouette.
You attach everything, all button heads.
Yeah. So then there's another frame in here that's riveted to the door that captures, you know, everything with nutserts. Okay. So that's that deal. And then we wanted to do
rockers, right?
Rockers too. So that both sides have kind of a system here, a capture system, where this is a broke piece of aluminum that has 2 breaks in it, and then it's shrunk so it forms to the radius on the car. Okay. And then you know, there's another piece underneath that's Zeus buttoned here, quarter turn. Okay. And then just stainless rivets to kind of capture the whole thing as one system. Nice. Then the other thing Eric was talking about was there was a substantial gap going from the chassis here to the body. Right. So we just closed that thing off with the trim. And I left more work for myself when he wants to take the car back, you know, to close it all up. Yeah. But I figured I'd kind of put a brake here too. If this thing's splashing, it'll deflect. Okay. If sand is just splashing right there.
In there,
yeah, because sometimes that's the hardest, where it really loads sand, is when this tire bites on the inside and it just throws into there. Okay. So that's kind of the cosmetic thing. I think we should cover the filters just because that's the last cosmetic thing.
Cosmetic.
This just had some brackets that were kind of wonky. Yep. So we just tuned these up, anti-edge aluminum, dimpled eyes, just to kind of give it a good look.
Clean look.
Yep. And
got the filters straightened up all good too.
Exactly. Yeah, nice. Squared them up. So that's done. Okay. I think that's.
Then we went to kind of original plan was to get sway bars on this thing, because it's so much power. You just 3-wheel motion wheelie it when you're hitting it. So we wanted to get at least a rear sway bar, and then I had the idea with the front. And you ran with it. So.
Yeah, and I think me and Eric talked about the sway bar thing, and you know, I think running a front sway bar, just like a car or any like high performance vehicle, you put sway bars on the front and the rear. Yeah, it's almost opposite of balance to just run a rear sway bar, and it still kind of leaves room for weird body roll and weird balance on the vehicle. Yep. So this is mocked up right now because we're just waiting on the sway bar, like the actual bar with the splines.
Which we had ordered by
It's
Sway
ordered.
Away. Yeah,
Yep.
so it's
Sway
all...
Away did both of these.
Yep.
So that's mocked up just to kind of look at it and see its functions.
Okay.
Yeah, and so this is the rear. It's a 45-inch wide bar, 35 spline, 1.5 inch, just like a truck would have.
Yep.
Custom links we built, custom linkage we built, tabbed it, took the arm, re-welded all the corners. These were kind of okay to leave, but some of these welds were kind of crazy looking and maybe not safe.
Yep.
So tabbed for the sway bar, then completely redid all the shock mounts.
Okay. And then we went with the bigger bypass 3.0 now.
Yep.
New coilovers, bigger spring rates now, so that's going to help.
Yeah, and it's definitely stiff. I mean, it was even tricky just to get that thing in there with no preload.
Okay.
Also, gusseting on the chassis. I think this car originally had a smaller engine, and I just went through and added gussets kind of on crucial areas where there might be cracking and flexing. And this is gonna be a trial run right now to see what does crack.
Okay.
But I think this is a good start.
Yeah.
This is fully boxed, 360 welded. This is doubled, so these tabs are starting to turn into oval holes.
Okay.
Just because they were getting a lot of load. So there's 3/16 chromoly on each side of this, doubled up.
Nice.
That should, do the job.
Cool.
All the bolts now, the bolts that were in here were not shanked. They were just coarse thread bolts, which means like the area that's under load had part of the thread on it. So now everything is shanked properly and cut and done, nicely.
Nice.
That's the same with the front suspension. So same kind of thing. Redid the shock mounts up here. Added a limit strap. There wasn't a limit strap. So, favored for a big, nice shock mount. And that kind of adds a strength gusset from this point to that point. So we have
surface area.
Yeah, we have kind of a dimension to it now.
Yep.
Same with the sway bar program. This is gusseted now.
Yep.
So
and then we're gonna do new upper A arms later down the road. So
yeah, those are being drawn right now.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it. So
looks so good with the sway bar.
It does. It looks like a serious machine now.
Yeah. I love how it's all, cut out and hollowed in that area. You can see through the transition.
So that was, obviously you guys would see there's like a tube here.
Yep.
And this is just our mock-up tube.
Yep.
When it goes in, there's going to be a sway bar that goes from 1.5 to 3/4.
Okay.
So it'll be a nice polished thing in here, but I thought it was just so much material.
Yep.
That it needs to break up like that to just have, you have smaller tubing for the chassis. So to have a 2-inch tube going all the way through just for the sway bar.
Yeah.
That seems tricky. So I would just material breakup in here, and it'd be nice to have a contrast of a nice polished bar.
Yep.
The other thing too, this bulkhead is still freestanding to the shock mount, and I think that this is almost like a crunch zone, right? So if something bad were to happen and you hit the front of this thing hard, it's not going to affect the rest of the car. Okay. If anything's going to go, it's going to be these tubes are going to bend. That's it. Then we're good. And we cut that shit off and redo it, and that's it. Good. Instead of bracing the shit out of it and then hitting, and all of a sudden your whole chassis is blown out. Yeah.
And that's where you come down heavy sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have that inevitable hit. So yeah, added the limit straps, adjustable clevises.
Perfect.
Everything's kind of in line and sighted nicely.
Nice.
Everything cycles clean. Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah.
We did the coil of reservoirs now, so rear reservoirs all mounted.
Kind of found a good spot for those. Tony found the spot where we can adjust the clickers, get the nitrogen, so everything's turnkey right there.